about uh, how it would be done. Uh, I was thinking only from my perspective, as in, when I first listened to the topic, how it feels, what is it. I did not. I mean, in the beginning, it was told that it has to be some musical, some tune, a poem or something on that front. But the first thing what came to my mind was how I think about it. Uh, I did not consider what the group is comfortable with. Uh, I didn't take their opinion or did not consider their opinion. Once the members, team members started participating, they started sharing their views. That is when I thought, yes, it can be done that way also. Because when I was thinking, I was just thinking how that topic makes me feel. But then later I got another point of view that we have to showcase what it means. I was going more with the feeling, what I would feel, what comes to my mind. Then it started shifting. I mean, I did not concentrate on that, and I started thinking on those lines as well. And I not completely shifted, but yes, on those lines also I started thinking how would I, come up with things which will have, which will show the topic also, and then, it would also have music which would, you know, showcase how I'm feeling when I hear that word.
Okay, and also, how is it when
And
you?
when this
Yeah, sorry.
activity,
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, when after the activity was done, and when I was writing in this Venn diagram, and I was putting down the thoughts, I realized that I never actually thought about what others you know what are they thinking. It was like just when they spoke it out, I was like, okay, that it can be done that way. So when during the process of doing the activity, all these things didn't come to my mind. I was just more with this is given, it has to be done this way. So what do I think about it? And yeah, I mean, when the inputs were given from other team members, I would add on to that.
So, were you with the group needs? Were you with your needs? Were you with others' needs? And now that you think about it as these three separate things, what comes to you? What I meaning? How does that make you look at the whole thing?
I think more of my needs and more percentage of my needs, and then the group needs. I think the others needs I didn't consider it at all, because somewhere I had that thing in mind that as a group, whatever they are contributing, it is the group needs only. I don't know if that is but that is what I think. When the other members were contributing, I thought it is that that is what even as a group they are doing it. So it was more of my need and little bit of group needs, and others needs I think I didn't consider at all. That thought didn't come on in my mind.
Okay, others. even people who were not much verbally participating, even they can share because they were part of the group. In maybe they played a different role or they participated in the activity in a different way, maybe by keeping quiet. Uh, but even there, they were part of the group. So how did it go for you, and how do you look at this little diagram? So everybody can share.
Hello. Hello. Am I audible, really?
Yeah, Shrishti.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, Shrishti.
Okay. Actually, when I started in this, I started participating right from the beginning. First, I was working with my own needs. I thought about the topics. I thought about which would be more comfortable for myself. Then I suggested correction. Then I went on to others' needs. I thought that others should also participate. Then I thought, what is needed? If it is something musical, then everyone else should come on the mic. And then I started thinking about group needs, more participation. That's how it went on with me. First my needs, then others' needs, and then group needs. I thought about all of it.
Okay, any specific?
Nothing came out of it.
I'm saying any specific thought when you actually at the end of the activity separated them out like this using this Venn diagram.
Yeah, the specific thoughts was that many of them did not participate. I wanted them to participate. I wanted them to participate. That's what I that came into my mind. Maybe if
So,
they would have participated, something would have come out.
so what was that? That was my need, group need, or others' need?
I think my need comes under my need.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody else wants to share? I'm particularly interested in when you divide or whatever, reflect back on uh, a group activity in this way. When you separate out my needs, group needs, and others' needs, what does that do to you? How are you seeing the last whatever 15 minutes we spent? How are you seeing that now that we have kind of separated that out? I'm more interested in that.
Ratish, I felt that if we uh, not focus too much on my needs and others' needs and focus on the group needs and whatever is needed as a whole, if we focus on that, the output is more productive or we can get more done as a group. But we can't totally rule out my needs and others' needs.
So is being
Maybe it is
productive your
encouraged.
need?
As a group, if we are given any activity, if the group needs to give out what is expected of it, um, for the group to succeed is what I was saying.
Yeah. So is that your need, or you think that is group need, or is that your need?
The group as such is it's how would I put it? What kind of entity it is? Mm, Uh, a little unclear there.
So that's exactly what I'm saying. So was it your need that the group should be productive, or was it the group's need that the group should be productive? Did the group kind of come to a conclusion like that, or that we need to be productive, or we need to have a presentation, and presentation should involve everybody, etc., etc.
It's actually my need, but then if everyone in the group has similar needs, then it is the group's need, right?
Okay. So I'm just making you aware that that's how you are thinking. I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
And that is precisely
Actually,
why
individual needs combined together is the group need, right? As in,
I don't know.
what is expected out of the group is okay. What does group needs mean? Is it individual needs combined together, or it is what is expected out of the group?
I don't know. You have to think for yourself. All I'm saying is that there can be three windows, or there can be three parts to the whole thing.
That's what needs are. Needs are expectations uh, from an external entity from the group is what I was asking. Is it? It is.
That you have to decide. I don't know. I'll let others also share their thoughts. And just as a rider, it's not about a debate whether this is my need or group need. That's not the point of this whole exercise. The whole exercise is to become aware of when we are doing something, instead of just being, okay, we are doing something, aware that there are uh, three paradigms working. One is my paradigm, one is the group's paradigm, and one is the other's paradigm. And if there are 10 others, then there are 10 other paradigms. So that's about 12 paradigms. I just that awareness, and I wanted to see how that awareness, what does that awareness do? Right. So it's not so much of I don't want to get into a debate whether that was my need and what is a group need, or define them and so on. That's not the point.
I think if we become more aware of others' needs, we can work together better as a group. Because usually the first thing we think about is my needs, and slowly we become aware of others' needs, and when we think more about the group needs is when we become more aware of how else can we contribute to others' needs and group needs, and
Right. So see if you
things
can,
effectively.
yeah, instead of, so see if you can connect it to what you did rather than it being a generic discussion. See if you say that, okay, if I would have done this, then it could have happened, or I did this and this happened, and you know, if this,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like that, so like that.
things like others needs like encouragement, whether if they needed motivation or encouragement while coming up with sounds, or when they did, bring giving them motivation to go further and do more, and things like that is what I was talking about.
But what whose need is that? I did see somebody in the chat window say, hey, others should also get involved. I think Avinash and Kamal's name came up. Why don't you guys share them? So when somebody is doing that, I don't know who did that. Somebody is doing that. Uh, what is that person doing? Is that person trying to meet others' need? Is that person trying to meet the group's need, or is the person still with self need?
It's
So
overlapping actually.
fair enough, fair enough.
Harmony.
Yeah, anybody else wants to share? I thought this will generate a lot of discussion because we, I presume that this is an interesting way to reflect back on any small or big activity, or even one's life, or one's whatever relationships with people, and so on, and how we work together, whether in family or at work or at other social places, with our children, with us, with anybody for that matter. So I'm again underlining, to me, it's not so much about slotting a need and saying, hey, that's a group need and that's another need. But the act of doing it, the act of trying to think about, oh, hey, how is this, and is this, and is this that, and how is this, and did I think about this, and when did I think about this, and when did others think about this, and so on. What does that do to us? That's what I'm more interested in, rather than kind of saying, hey, this is this need and this is this need as a finality. And also, where are we confusing one with the other? Do we confuse? Do we not confuse? What happens when we confuse others' need with self need, uh, and so on? It's like, let's say somebody is not participating. So when I'm inviting them, hey, please participate. You also share. You come on mic. I heard some people saying, guys, come on mic. You all join in. Where are we coming from? What are we trying to do? What is important to us? Is our expression, is it an expression? Is it a communication? Are we trying to connect with their needs? Are we with our needs? Are we more looking at the group needs? In that case, are we talking about it in that way, and so on?
Hello. Uh, what I get a thought that when it's a group activity, somewhere at the back of my mind, I think that everybody needs to participate. So so that is maybe it is as Ritu said, it's kind of overlapping. My need to be you know since it's a group activity, uh, you know doing it in a group and telling people to join in and give their inputs. So I mean it is kind of my need also and the group needs also. And somewhere it is there at the back of the mind that if it is a group activity, everybody needs to participate. Their inputs are required.
Yeah, so maybe that's a belief system.
Yeah, belief.
Nothing wrong or right about it. So if you extend this to, let's say, when you are with children, and let's say you are doing something, you are making something, you're playing something, uh, and it's the same with the child also, where the child is doing, playing, working with peers, which is a lot of time. A child spends uh, a huge amount of time as a social time. Even we do that, and I'm not trying to segregate children here, but children just the focus. Uh, but otherwise, all of us do tend to spend a lot of fair amount of social time where we are with other people, even though we are not normally all the time. We don't have an objective like this, or it's not an activity which needs to be completed. But in a way, we are together. Whether we are having dinner together, whether we are playing whatever game together, whether we are just sitting and chatting, uh, or whether we are just kind of, let's say, preparing for an outing or anything, or we are going on an outing or going for a shopping, or whatever, or learning something together, or making something physical together. So we work, we, you know, we are all the time between, um, not all the time, but most of the time we are between self and social. And the interesting part is that if you realize from this little diagram is that whenever we are in a social scenario, whether we are with one or more person or many people, that's immaterial. So whenever we are with another person, we are never only with the other person. You know what I mean? There is always my needs as well as the other's needs. It is never only others' needs. Even when I say, for example, if a child is crying and I say, "Oh, what happened?" and "Why don't you drink some water? Calm down, relax." So I may be thinking that I'm there for the other person, but obviously I'm operating from, to some extent, from my needs, to some extent from the group needs, as in whatever we both together as a group, whatever group we form. It could be a mother-child, father-child relationship. It could be a teacher-child relationship. It could be in any relationship. It could be a adult-adult relationship. And at the same time, there is this other who has whatever his or her need, which is often uh, not even very clear to us, or we interpret it in many different ways. And then we're all the time playing this little, uh, as you said, overlapping or the juggling game uh, where it could be, we could be focusing on my need, that the other person quieten down or cheers up. I could be focusing on the other's need, where the other person's need is more to just cry. Or I could be playing on the group needs, where we see that as an opportunity for us to come look closer together and build a stronger bond between us and so on. So it's just to me a very, it's to me a very lyrical, very poetic, very beautiful uh, way of looking back at how we work and how we kind of interrelate with each other. So I'm not very sure, Ritu, when we say we tend to put group needs, I'm not very, very sure. Often when we think what is a group need could actually be my need. And often when we think that this is others' need could actually be a group need, and vice versa also. So I don't want to generalize it by saying we do this more, we do this less. All I'm saying, in any situation, if you realize, and to me, this realization itself is huge, that there is not just one need that is being met. There's all these three entities: the group or the relationship, then the others themselves, and me. They're all the three dynamically together, and such is the beauty of being a social being. So I don't want to draw generalization. I want to just become more, let's just call it, aware that okay, there are three beautiful windows to look at any social interaction. Yeah, you can look at it as one circle or whichever way. That's hard. I like this Venn diagram because it kind of demarcates that others are in, and others are sometimes multiple people, like in this example which we had together. So, and if there are more than one other, then they have all different needs. So what am I? Where am I? Am I aware of it? Not that I need to meet their needs, and so on. So whether you make it into one circle or multiple circle is your choice. But this awareness is almost poetic for me. It's almost it's and I'm not trying to anywhere tried to profess that one need is better than the other, that we shouldn't be selfish. I would say we are naturally selfish, so no big deal about it. Okay, can you hear me now? Is it better? Hello, can you hear me? Okay, okay. I think maybe just a little blip. So I was just saying that it's not so much about whether you drive it into 3 circles, 10 circles, whatever number of circles. It's more just the, as I said, it's almost to me like a poetic thing, almost like a, uh, uh, as if I'm watching a movie or whatever. One beautiful, in fact, that reminds me of a beautiful movie. I don't know if you have seen that movie, but very highly recommended. It's a movie. It's an Iranian movie called A Separation, or The Separation. Sorry, I'm forgetting. Has anybody seen that? It's an Iranian movie made by a very acclaimed Iranian director called, I think, The Separation or A Separation, one of those. Yeah. So what? Just watch that movie and you see how beautifully he plays around with these three things: uh, my need, group needs, and other needs, and how he actually brings in the audience as part of the whole scheme of things. So he's all the directors all the time, not just thinking about his characters and what they are going through, but is also thinking about what the audience is going through, and then plays around with the audience without. So it's beautiful to have a constant dialogue with the audience in a very different way. So it's an amazing movie, and he is an amazing director in that sense. He always tries to play around with the audience themselves. Has anybody seen that? So, uh, where was that? Yeah. So what I'm trying to do, what we're trying to do is spend time is to just understand that the self intelligence and the people intelligence, while they first of all, to me, they go hand in hand. They're not really two very separate intelligences, because the self always plays a role in the social, and the social always is the one which is constantly influencing the self. Whether I'm reading a book, whether I'm watching a movie, whether I'm talking to people, it is somebody else which is constantly up, in many different ways, in influencing myself. And just that awareness that how uh, I exist in the social milieu or the environment where I am, and how others and how I interact with others. Right? As again, I'm not trying to be righteous here. I'm not trying to say there's a right way to behave or a right way to do, or the group should be productive, or I should be caring or not. Not none of those. I'm not trying to say that. I'm saying the intelligence isn't about being righteous. Please don't confuse social intelligence or self-intelligence with about being righteous or about being correct or proper or whatever. It's about being. It's about this journey of being aware and being able uh, to just recognize that, this is where I am, or this is where this person is, or this is where the group is, and this is how things are happening. To me, it's about that, because we can be doing our life whole day and we need not be even aware of what were our needs and what were my, let's say, children need or spouse needs or co-workers needs, or I could even not be really too much thinking about the group need. What does the group finally really need? Does the group really need whatever we have written down in the mission statement or so on and so forth? So companies write that mission statement, vision statement. But that's more for the, I would say, for the outer audience. But the inner audience, the co-workers together, what are they, as a group thinking, feeling, and how is that moving? I know I'm kind of rambling, but let me pause here. Okay, let me share one small. No, wait. Let me pause here. Let me take some of. Today you've all been very quiet, so let me take some thoughts.
Yeah, this is Neetu here. Am I audible? Yeah, I think we generally, at least with children, when we are working with children, we work from our need and assume that it is also supposed to be their need. Like just when we listening to the top, when listening to everyone now, just became a little aware about that, and we think it is supposed to be their need also, and if only we think what is their need, we would work or act differently than what we are generally doing. That is my take on this.
To some extent, I agree with what you say because sometimes we form images that, for example, caring mother, forget caring mother, just the image of a mother or father, that we gotta be caring, and by the very token that we have that image that as a father or mother I'm caring. I think that whatever I'm doing, since I'm doing it for the good of the child, I'm actually caring, which it's which maybe is right. I'm not saying we are not caring, but I'm just saying we're caring from only one perspective, which is interesting if we start thinking what could be from the child's perspective. Uh, Not that we need to stop. Our needs are not important. Not that we need to only listen to the child's need. As I said, it's not about being right or wrong, but it's just about being aware. So what you're saying, Nitu, yeah, a lot of times we do end up in those slots and actually start whatever being more mechanical about it. More thoughts, more people. Okay, the group choosing to be quiet today. Um, so I'd sent some exercises in the pre-session preparation. Could any of you try the observation exercise activity where you were to observe? Ritu wants to share something. Ritu, go ahead.
Um, Actually, about the earlier what we were discussing about that, the more I think about it, the more I feel we always think only about my needs. and it might contribute to group needs and other needs, but it basically stems from my needs.
Well, I won't be so harsh saying that you always think about your needs.
No, even if we want to put others' needs ahead or group needs ahead, even that is my need, right? I want to put it ahead.
Putting it ahead, I agree, is my need, or I think
It's not harsh. It's just natural, I feel.
no, no. So that's where I want to slightly differentiate with
No,
you.
what I was saying was it doesn't. Uh-huh.
Go ahead, go ahead. You complete your thought.
No, that's no. Go ahead, Ratnesh. I think I understand what you're saying, but
See, there's a difference in
I
being aware of others' need and putting their needs ahead of my needs.
okay, yeah,
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 I
and
am not
being
talking.
totally unaware of what others are,
Yeah,
or assuming others needs to be something, and
right,
are we
right.
actually, yeah, feeling others needs, or are we assuming it to be something? There's a difference in that also.
Yes. So my what I'm trying to highlight is it whether we are when we are choosing to, let's say, put a child's need, let's say, ahead of our needs, then that is still my need, as you rightly said. I'm still my need to whatever, let's say, give importance to the child. But am I, before we did that, aware of what is the child's need? What is the child, let's say, wanting, trying, thinking, feeling? It's just the awareness. So I'm more at the awareness level rather than actually action level, because the action could be for better off, could be maybe fulfilling my need, maybe fulfilling the group needs, or could be fulfilling the child's need also. In some ways we also change our needs based on what we think could be group needs and others needs, and which is also fair enough. That's how we operate. So if somebody says something, I may change my need, and suddenly my need is less to let's say somebody says let's have dosa, and I wanted to have Chinese, and I say okay, let's have dosa. So now why have I changed my need? Because my need was not actually dosa. Need was to be with the other person and then spend some good time with the other person. And I would rather have dosa with that person than have Chinese alone. You know what I mean? So we are also constantly, you know, changing our needs, and so is the other person, and so is the group needs. At one point, the group need was to, let's say, decide a topic. At some point, the group needs was to involve others. Or maybe at some point, the group needs was to just somehow present something, right? When the time was kind of up, then the time thing came in onto the group, and then so on. Right? So the group needs also change, and self needs also change. So we are all. So it's not so much about saying this is right, this is wrong, and kind of saying that I'm only thinking about myself and I should be selfless. No, 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 no. It's not about that at all.
How aware we are of how we prioritize our needs and others' needs.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like a dance.
exactly. It's a poetry. It's a dance, and it's a beautiful thing. I just don't want to give the message any which way that I'm trying to be righteous here, right? Or we need to be righteous. I'm just trying to say, hey, look at yourself and look at the world. It is so
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's all natural. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. Um, this was from a book I read. So I picked up a book on sociology, right? This was way back, and in a library, and I thought, who will read sociology? That sounds like such a dumb subject. Who wants to read sociology? And I just opened the first page, and in the kind of a place where they write some whatever acknowledgements, or they write devoted. This book is devoted to so and so. That page, and there was a very small thing written there. It said that so hear me carefully. A woman is fine changing clothes in presence of her husband. a woman is fine changing clothes in the presence of her sister, but a woman is not okay changing clothes in front of both her sister and her husband. And that is sociology. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Just a very, very small thing, but how it, to me, it's, as I say, I keep saying it's poetic. It's a dance, yes, it's a song. It's, you look at ourselves and you look at others and you observe yourself and you observe others and you observe how things go, how we get into conflicts and get out of conflicts, and how we and then we use to me the thing which kind of tells me that we are getting stuck is the language, because we tend to use language. We say, oh, I'm adjusting, oh, I'm accommodating, oh, I'm flexible, oh, I'm being dominated. Now these words tend to create more issues, but if you were to leave these words aside and just operate more at, hey, what is it that I want and what is it that others want, and kind of be with this thought process, then the journey becomes more aware. That's all. I'm not saying better, but just becomes more aware, and perhaps more. We start even enjoying the conflicts and all the different things that happen in any social setting. So the idea is not to avoid conflicts. It's the idea is to uh, understand them, not avoid them. I think that to me is what is self and social intelligence in parts. Right? Am I understanding? Not that I'm somebody who is more socially intelligent would solve all the conflicts or will not have any conflict, but would possibly have a better understanding. Yeah, your thoughts? I was also pointing to that activity which I had put in pre-session preparation, was the activity of observing um, a child or somebody doing something, just observing. Uh, could any of you do it? You have some thoughts on that activity? Did anybody do that? Just go and sit and observe. Let's see, for 15 minutes. Somebody.
Ratnesh, Ritu here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was observing my child playing a video game. Um, I wrote down a few observations, like he was so concentrated and so focused and completely immersed in the activity. His mind was very active, but I felt he was wasting time and things like that. And maybe he was training his mind in a certain way. He was finding it exciting to play the game, and he was looking so cute doing whatever he was doing. And
So do you
some of
realize that
them
none of
needed
them are
observation.
observations?
None of them are observations.
No, they're all judgments. They're all
None of them.
conclusions.
They're
No,
all
no.
perception.
Yes, they're all perception.
Okay. I. Oh.
When you say that his mind was so focused, that to me is your perception.
Yeah, he was looking focused.
Even looking focused is a perception. If you say that for 3 minutes he was looking only at his video game panel and did not look anywhere else, now to me that is an observation.
Ah,
But if you say, if you convert this into saying that he was concentrating, yeah, then that's a judgment or that's a conclusion. That's not an observation. Obviously, cute and all are so definitely judgments. But even focused, even his brain is active. How do you know? Did you go inside the brain and check it out? Maybe he's doing it very mechanically. Maybe he's so unconsciously competent in that he just doesn't need to use any mind in it.
yeah.
Right? So almost everything that you said was not an observation.
Perception. Yeah. Yes.
Which is why I really like this activity, the activity of observing and then realizing how we actually don't observe. And one of the key abilities of a person who is socially intelligent is somebody who can just observe without a judgment, without a conclusion, without analyzing, without going into an evaluation mode, but just observe, just collect data. So when we work with people, as in and we'll talk about it more when we come to the facilitation session, which is actually the next session in more detail. How when we kind of drop the judgment, the conclusions down, and we actually open up our eyes, because then we are half. Otherwise, we are hardly using our eyes. We are more using our brains. So we stop our brains and we actually use our eyes or hands or ears to just be and not conclude and not judge and not assume and not perceive, but just be and just see and just hear and just listen and just observe how much more we can kind of learn about children if that is our topic of interest. So when we're talking about facilitation, I'm assuming we are interested in knowing about them, in understanding them. And I can know and understand, or at least I can understand the other person much better when I am able to consciously keep away my judgments and conclusions and perceptions and actually just observe. So we actually ask uh, people to do this, what you did for 10, 15 minutes. We ask people to do it for multiple sessions, write down their observations. And when people write down, they often write down what can be called as a conclusion, and then we rewrite each conclusion as an observation. And that kind of helps us then actually be with the child and understand the child. Otherwise, we too soon run into he's cute, he's focused, he's whatever, he's active, or whatever, whatever conclusions that we have made. Yeah, Nitu, we judge before, we judge during, we judge after. Even when we observe, we quickly convert that into a judgment. So part of the social intelligence is not to too soon run into a judgment, but rather listen, see, observe, hear, those 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 faculties, the senses, almost like a video camera. A camera doesn't tell that he or she is focused. The camera can only show you from 1 minute 10 seconds to 5 minutes 10 30 seconds. This child was looking at the whatever the panel of the game. Yeah, Shilpa, you can call it spontaneous, or I would say it is all very trained. We've been trained to judge because, again, if I go back to a 0 to 2 year old child, a child can stay out and observe people without any judgment. A small child can tell you different things and observe different things about people, about things without really being judgmental. But as we what happens is the child hears the language of judgment all the time. You are lazy, you are bored, or you are why are you sitting here? Why are you not doing anything? So the child is all the time hearing the language of conclusions, of assumptions, and in some ways we get conditioned to do that, and then the conditioning becomes looks very spontaneous. Again, not anything wrong or right about it, just that awareness that we are doing it, and the realization that we can actually do observation also, and it can be joyous, and it can perhaps help us in understanding others. Anybody else who did this exercise of observing somebody? Also, this exercise had two parts. The first part is you observe the room. Interestingly, when we observe something inanimate, so let's say we are observing a room and then we are observing the child in the room. So you try this yourself. When you observe the room, you will have more non-judgmental observations. For example, you may say, uh, there are six chairs. You may observe that there is more red color used in the upholstery. Now that's an observation. Right? Now, obviously, there still would be some judgments, like this room is very interesting. Now, obviously, that's a judgment that to you is interesting. But then when we do it with people, especially people who we are close to. So again, if you observe a stranger, if you're sitting in a railway station and doing nothing, or in a train, observe strangers. And if you make those observations, your observations will be less judgmental. You'll be talking about simple things. She's wearing, a red color sari, or she's wearing a big jewelry, or whatever. She's not wearing a jewelry, and those kind of observations, which are actually observations. But when we observe about people who we think we know, we bring in a whole lot of our perceptions. So our children, our other family members, our people around us. So partly when we work with children, we also help them develop this whole differentiation between observation and conclusions or judgment or presuppositions and perceptions. So a lot of time is spent with children in differentiating between these two, uh, so that they are aware when they are doing an observation and they are aware when they are doing a judgment. And the awareness helps, and not that one shouldn't judge and not that one shouldn't observe. Yeah, any thoughts? Sorry, I've been talking a lot today. You guys are not talking, so giving me all the space to talk. Your thoughts, and then we can take a small break. But before that, some thoughts. So I'll give you an example of how we have used this, just to give you an idea of how this works in practical terms. So since we work with a group of children, rather we live with a group of children, there's this one child who, if you say anything, if you ask a question, or if you say this has to be done, or any ideas or suggestions, so he would be the first one to answer many times. Right? Just say he would have something to say. Right? Um, so now what we did was what I did was I actually collected the data. So I actually wrote down whenever when this XYZ thing was asked, you were the first one and you said this. Then I said, then when this was asked, you were the first one and you said this. So like this, I collected the data over a week and then presented him that data. I said, hey, this is what I've observed about you over the last, about a week or so, 5 days, and it is a data which you can use to understand yourself, as well as you can think what does this reflect, what need is this fulfilling, uh, you know is this telling you something about yourself, is it telling you something about when you are with others in a group, uh, and so on. So I just left the data with the child, and the child was then kind of left to kind of reflect on it. So that's one way of just using what we call as observation, where we can actually share the observation with the other person, and then the other person starts becoming more aware of self, both in individual setting as well as in social settings. And that kind of helps the child, hopefully, I'm using the word hopefully, that helps the child become uh, you know more aware, more sensitive, more learning about oneself. So this is just one small example, which is why we do a lot of these observations, and we actually do a lot of writing them down. We actually document uh, a lot of these observations. And another advantage of writing them down is once we write them down, we know, or we can read them again and see whether they are observations or did I end up making an assumption or a conclusion or a judgment. So that's another advantage. I think somebody wanted to share something. Okay, Neetu, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Ratnesh, we need to do about ourselves, collect some data the day throughout, and see are we observing or judging them,
Right.
judging around more. I think we need to do our collecting our own data first.
So just after the break, we'll do an exercise on that exactly. How can I do that for self?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, we'll
because
do.
I was not able to do my exercise
Mm-hmm.
yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So early in the morning, I just, okay, when I saw the exercise and I was trying to do that, I
Mm-hmm.
thought, okay, let me imagine my daughter around and, what she was doing yesterday evening.
Mm-hmm.
And exactly as you said, about the room, it was more of the observation. Yeah, there are clothes around, there are books, there are bags, there's some paintings. And then it's dirty, it's messed up. There was some judgment there.
Yeah.
And then, but when it came to, because I was only doing observation, classifying it later, when it came to my daughter, yeah, she's having a paper in her hand, she's looking at the television, she's wasting time. It was more of all the judgments. And then I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? It made me aware about this. I'm like all the time judging her according
Yeah.
to my need.
Right.
And I really need to come out of how do we need to really do this? More of observation and less of judgment.
The interesting part is when we judge somebody, we tend to take the responsibility also. So suppose if I think that somebody is wasting time, then we also, while we say, hey, you're wasting time, or let's say you're being lazy, we also tend to think now I need to do something to get him out of his
About
or
it.
her, right. So
True.
I take up but
Yeah.
when I only give the data, if I say for last 20 minutes you have just been sitting there and
Hmm.
watching whatever a cartoon show which you have watched before yesterday. Let's say I just give the data. Then I don't have any responsibility. Then the child has the responsibility now to do something with that data. So it's very interesting. When we make a judgment, we become responsible. But when we share observation, we don't take the responsibility. And then the child has to take the responsibility at some point of time. So that's very interesting.
Oh, that's really interesting. True. I think, but before giving the data or the observation, we give them the judgment. You are
Yeah.
wasting your time, so
Yeah.
better get up now. That is, yeah, that's really nice.
And obviously these judgments become seeds for further conflict. When somebody was asking, how do I reduce conflicts? Well, you increase observations and reduce judgments. When you reduce judgments and increase observations, the conflicts tend to reduce, or become a different flavor, I would say. And let me not say that conflicts reduce, because the conflict is a clash of two different needs, so they're bound to be conflicts, but the flavor of conflicts changes. How it changes, what it changes, we'll do a couple of intense activities after the break. So let's take a slightly quicker break. We've been going a little slow, and also my mic wasted a little time at the beginning. So can we take a little quicker break today, Ritu? We'll be back, let's say, in 11 minutes, or even quicker if it's possible. If it's 7, 8 minutes. Right. So it's, I think 10 minutes would be, 11 minutes would be fair. It's 11:39 by my watch. So let's meet at 11:50. Can we restart? Is everybody back? Just tell me in the chat window. I'm just waiting for everybody to be back. So if you're already back, just type B or back in the chat window. Okay, so what we will do is we'll do kind of two activities, one more on self and the other one more um, on the social or the group part, or others on the social intelligence. Okay. Um, the first one, the one on the self, is actually a fairly small activity. Um, it is just an awareness activity, and it requires actually everybody to just follow my instructions. You will keep your eyes closed, and I'll give some instructions, and you just follow those instructions. Um, I've kept it short, not because in itself it is short. One can be aware of oneself throughout the whole day, and so it can be as long as you want it to be. But as an exercise, just to give you a kind of an introduction or an idea uh, to this. Not that we need an introduction. We already are very much uh, aware of what we are doing. This is just to increase the awareness uh, and increase the awareness in different ways. So I'll give some ideas and then you can extrapolate it and play around with other ideas, right? So I just need everybody to quickly acknowledge in the chat when I'm not still sure if everybody is back and listening. So just want a quick whatever ready or R or whatever in the chat window just for me to know that everybody's there for the activity and then I can start. Okay, great. So for this activity, as I said, you just need to be comfortable and close your eyes. Uh, take about 10-15 minutes. So you can just close your eyes and relax. Yeah, and as you relax and as you close your eyes, I want you to just become uh, aware of whatever you are thinking, whatever is coming to your mind, whatever your body is feeling. Obviously, one of the things that you are doing is you are listening to me. That is one of the things you are doing, but there could be other things that you are doing. As you kind of settle down with yourself, uh, I want to bring in the concept of three zones of awareness. One awareness is what is going on inside us. So I want you to take a moment to be a little aware of what is going on inside. This could be a small self-talk going inside your mind, or something that you're feeling inside you, uh, some some visuals that are coming in your mind. So take a moment to just focus, or not focus, to be aware of what is happening inside you. The other zone of awareness is what is happening outside us. So one of the things that is for you happening outside you is that I'm speaking. But there could be other sounds. There could even be things. Maybe since your eyes are closed, you can't see them, but you know that they are there, or your awareness is going on a particular object, maybe your laptop, maybe your child in the other room, maybe the sounds coming. So things which are outside us physically, maybe in terms of your body, you are feeling something on your hair or on your feet or on your knees. Maybe there's a pain somewhere. Right? So just become aware of what is outside us. So I'll again be quiet for a few seconds, and that time I want you to be just aware of the zone of outside awareness, something which is happening outside your body and mind. So there is this zone of awareness which is outside, what is happening outside. Uh, there is this zone of awareness of what is happening inside, and perhaps a third zone of awareness, which is more, I would call it as imagination or fantasy, which isn't happening anywhere, but you can imagine, you can visualize, you can. It's something where your mind can go, but which isn't physically there. It could be, you can imagine future, you can imagine history, you can imagine your childhood home or anything. So just take a few seconds to just imagine few things and see how that can also be part of your awareness, is when the mind actually is not in the real sense here, but is somewhere else. So so we classify these awarenesses, these three awareness: the inside and the outside and the imaginary or the fantasy awareness. The idea is that our mind kind of keeps moving in between these three. So what I want to do is, I will be quiet for a few seconds and just observe how your mind and moves from inside awareness maybe to outside awareness, maybe to something which is imaginary, then comes back to outside, then again moves inside. So how quickly it is, like quick changing of channels that is happening inside you. So just observe this, let's call it this phenomena, this happening. So you would have realized that our mind kind of effortlessly moves between these three. And what we would do now is just understand these three zones of awareness in a little more detail, and see what kind of things that we do with our own self. Right? So I want to start by showing how at any point of time we are uh, focusing on only one thing. Right? So for example, when you are listening to me right now and you're thinking what I am saying, you're not focusing on, let's say, your right toe. And now that I'm talking about your right toe, and maybe your focus has gone to the right toe, you're not thinking about something else, maybe your child's problem. And now maybe they're talking about the child problem. If you're thinking about the child problem, you are not thinking about whatever, something from your childhood. So our focus of awareness is at one time only at one thing, and then it kind of moves, right? So I'll be quiet for some time and just observe how at one time you're only focusing on one thing, and then you switch and then go somewhere else, and then you switch and then you go somewhere else, and then you switch and then you go somewhere else. So how our awareness switches from one to another, uh, but at one point of time is only focusing on one thing. As you become aware of this whole tendency to focus at one thing at a time, though it could be minuscule in terms of time, it's almost like that spotlight on a theater stage, which can only light up one part of the stage, and then it moves to another part or another character, and then it moves to another part. It's almost our mind is like that spotlight. And an interesting corollary of it being like this, it being focusing on one thing and then focusing on another, is that because of this, we are actually selecting what do we want to focus on, right? In some ways, we are selecting certain things that we want to focus on, and we are making some choice. So if I'm focusing on a sound outside, then I'm kind of selecting to focus on that sound. And then if my focus switches to some thought or some feeling inside, then I'm focusing on that. And then maybe my mind goes to some other place, and then I'm focusing on that. So I'm selecting, I'm choosing uh, what all I am focusing on. So for the few seconds, I'll be quiet and just observe what are you selecting to focus on. And as you realize that you are selecting certain things to focus on, you also realize by the very nature of selecting, you are avoiding or not selecting certain other things. For example, if you are focusing on the little pain that is there in your, let's say, ankle, then obviously you are not focusing on, let's say, your hair. Or if you're focusing on your hair, then you're not focusing on the sounds that are coming outside. And when we are focusing on the sound, or when we are selecting the sounds which are coming outside, we are avoiding to focus on other things. So the whole process of selecting to focus on precludes everything else, as in you're avoiding everything else at that moment. So when our awareness is, so as you become aware, we realize that our mind is focusing or selecting certain things and avoiding a whole lot of different things. So let's do that. I'll be quiet for some time, and you just become aware what all you are selecting, and also by that value, by that virtue of selecting those things, what all you are avoiding. Obviously, when you think about what you are avoiding, you start selecting that. So that's an interesting interplay. But just do that, just realize what all you are avoiding in the next few seconds. Also, this process of selecting and avoiding sometimes leads to some interesting connections. Sometimes when I think of something, then I visualize something, then I feel something, then I look at something or I hear something. And sometimes they seem to be not connected. I jump from one to the other, almost as if the river has been flowing and suddenly it took a jump and then it started flowing again. So it's a play between disconnected to connected, or sometimes there are interesting connections between these. So for some time, just be with yourself and just see how where your mind is focusing on, and how are the connections between these. Is there a strong connection or no connection? Just observe these. And as you become aware of these connections, you also possibly start realizing that sometimes we stay with one awareness more, and sometimes we stay with another awareness less. And this flow is not constant flow; it's a constantly changing flow. Uh, Staying with something more, staying with something less. Right. So in the next few seconds, uh, you just observe the duration. How much time am I with something? With maybe with my thumb I'm more, and maybe with the sound outside I just hear it and then move ahead, and so on. So where am I more? Where am I less? How is this duration, and how is my whole flow of mind going? And as you observe the duration, the connection, you'll also realize that some of these awarenesses are inherently pleasant for us. A sweet sound coming, a bird calling could be something which is very pleasant, while a harsh sound coming, somebody crying, somebody shouting, could be unpleasant for us. Right? Uh, so just observe as your mind moves, what kind of uh, awareness does your mind is with? Is it with pleasant ones? Is it with unpleasant ones? A pain in my knee is obviously to me unpleasant, while my mother's face is something which is very pleasant. So am I moving between pleasant, unpleasant, and how much time am I spending with pleasant? How much time am I spending with unpleasant? So just observe that for a little while. So as you become aware of how your mind is moving from one to another, from different zones, selecting, avoiding, flowing, spending some time between pleasant and unpleasant, you realize that the whole journey is like a process. It's like a journey. It's just going on and on, traveling from one place to another. And what we were doing in the last about 15 minutes was just trying to observe our journey, almost like a uh, uh, somebody standing outside and kind of trying to observe how this journey is going on. So uh, this was a small process that, or rather, small awareness of our own mind process or awareness that I wanted to share with you. So now, in your own time, you can open your eyes, and if you would like to share something, you can share about this small exercise. So request use voice. Please come and share on the mic whatever you would like to share about this exercise. Neetu, are you speaking? I see your mic as unmute, but I don't hear you. Oh, okay. Would anybody like to share how was this exercise? Would you be with me? I'm sure mine also kind of gets sometimes distracted. Also, if you have, some of us might have done similar exercises before with different parameters or different constructs. But if you have done something like this for the first time, how was it? Today it's very quiet. All mics beautifully muted. No thoughts? Are you all able to hear me? I'm just wondering, is it that something wrong with the? Yeah. Okay. 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 I think I'll wait more.
Okay, so that's all right if right now you have nothing to share or not wanting to share, either ways. Um, Let me share how we do these with children. So we do a lot of, I'll just use the word awareness things with children. Uh, it could be something as simple as today we'll be aware how we are, let's say, using our left hand, or today we'll be aware of how we are using adjectives, or today we'll be aware of how much we are using data from the past or information from the past, our own past, or today we'll be aware of how what kind of tone are we talking, or today we'll be aware of uh, etc etc. So we have these once in a while, not on a concentrated basis, but once in a while these we spend time, or it could be that when we are doing something, so let's say when we are having lunch, we'll be aware of what kind of imaginations my mind is doing. So during the lunchtime, everybody is just aware, not that we need to do anything about it, but just that little journey of, or rather little effort of being of keeping that channel or rather the monitor on. I call it as that the process is going on, but the monitor we switch off, so we don't really know what's happening there at times. Only once in a while we look at the monitor. But if the monitor is constantly on, we are kind of aware of what is happening there. So so these kind of little things we do. It could be in a small duration. It could be for a day. It could even be sometimes for a week. Just become more aware and just help each other in a group setting to become more aware, and then use that awareness to kind of understand oneself. Sometimes we also use this ad hoc. Let's say two children are, or two people are in conflict, we can say, okay, we can continue whatever talking about it, but just become aware of uh, what kind of thoughts are coming to your mind, or what kind of questions are coming to your mind, or what kind of analysis you are doing, what kind of judgments are you making, and so on. So while we are doing something, we can be aware of how or what faculty of mind, or what how am I using something. So this is just some examples that I wanted to share. We can it's as wide as our life, so we can be aware of anything and everything, and whichever way we want to be aware of. So the same things which we do with children, we can do with ourselves, we can do it in families, we can do it anywhere. The idea is to just become more aware of oneself. And a lot of children I've seen, as part of their awareness, they automatically want to write it down somewhere or draw it, or in some way physically manifest it, whatever they are aware of. And sometimes it helps to tangibilize it. It helps to put it down or draw it, or if you're carrying a lump of clay in your hand, to actually play with it, to become connected with whatever you are aware of. Even a simple thing like drawing on your hand as to what you are aware of make helps you kind of connect with that awareness. Any thoughts? Anything coming in anybody's mind? Anybody has been doing some kinds of awareness activities which you can share, then that will help all of us. Maybe you've not been doing it as an activity, you've just been doing it because you're doing it. So it need not be as an activity, but something which has helped you.
Ratnesh, Ritu here.
Yeah, Ritu.
I have been trying to be aware of uh, what kind of response I get from my child when I used different ways of asking him or talking to him. When do I get a response? When do I not get a response? And what kind of a response I get with each approach? So I'm trying to be more aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
Though many times it just slips very easily if you're not consciously aware of it.
Okay.
It needs a lot of practice and um, to make it a habit to be aware. Earlier, a while back, I used to uh, try to be aware of whether I'm responding or reacting to situations.
Mm-hmm.
That was also a very interesting awareness activity I did for a while. After a while, it does become a bit of a habit.
Right. Uh, One is you make it sound at
But
least
it's interesting
yeah,
how
yeah,
we can use.
right. So when you're saying initially that so you make it sound a little difficult, but in my experience, it is not in itself difficult. It's just that we need to focus on something specific. Then it becomes easier to be aware. If you want me to aware of everything all the time, then I'll go mad. Right? It's like having hundreds. Imagine you're standing in that. If you go to a TV shop and there are some hundred screens there, and each running a different channel, you'll go crazy, right? So there's so much happening around us: sounds, visuals, people, thoughts, feelings, past, future, imaginations. All of this happening. So it's like 50 monitors broadcasting to you. Now, obviously, the mind, if it tries to focus on 50, or rather tries to be aware of all 50, will go crazy. Which is why we
At the
say,
same time.
yeah, at the same time. And even if one tries to do that, so what we try and do is what we have learned is that it's much easier if we pick up something specific then and get used to that channel, right? Once we get used to a particular channel, then it becomes easier. So like how you said, am I responding, am I reacting? So I'll still say that's one step further, but still at least you have something very specific. Now whenever somebody says something and you say something, the very next moment you can quickly say, hey, become aware, did I react, did I respond? And kind of make a little tally mark in your mind, or maybe whatever, slap yourself on the left side if you reacted, slap yourself on the right side if you responded, a kind of a documentation of the whole thing. So this way.
Yeah, even before the feelings class and all those classes, I think we spent some time in awareness of what our feelings were and
Yeah,
how the
yeah,
child is feeling.
yeah.
I think our feelings we can label more easily than the child's feeling because again we might be assuming with the child, but our own awareness we can definitely use it to
But I would my
focus.
in my experience, it's difficult to become aware of other feelings if I'm not aware of my own feelings. In some ways not difficult, meaning it's unlikely that I can only be aware of others and not aware of myself. So typically the myself comes first. I think somebody else was also saying, Neetu or somebody was saying that it's kind
We
of
have
it
to
has
be
to
aware of
begin
self.
it has to begin with me. So I start becoming aware of self, and then automatically I start becoming more aware of people. If I start thinking about all when all in the day I get excited,
And then I suddenly realized. So I'll give you a very cute example. I used to have this pain in my neck and shoulders, and I was not, not able to resolve it. And I would put these ointments and all that, and I was like getting frustrated about it. Then somebody recommended me to a doctor who they said that he wouldn't give any medicine or something, but who will study you. I was very fascinated by this whole thing. Now, obviously, he's a very good friend of mine. So I went to him, and what he said was that, hey, your chin is coming out. I said, what? He said, yeah, your chin is out. See, you sit there, I'll come to you. And he came to me and he showed me where my chin was, and he pushed it a little back, and poof, the chin went back in. And he said that your chin comes out when you are excited, when you're thinking a lot, your chin would come out. He said, you may not observe it, but start now observing it. How your chin comes out. Let's say you are in a meeting or you are on a laptop and some exciting mail or something interesting, something which requires a lot of thought. So he used the word excitement, obviously, as one feeling, but he said more feelings could be a trigger. And your chin comes out. And when your chin comes out, your different set of muscles kind of take over. And because those different set of muscles take over, you kind of strain your neck and shoulders. And since you do it a large part of your day, you end up having a pain. And he said that just for the next couple of weeks, just become aware of your chin. Where is your chin? Now, this was something so funny, where is your chin kind of thing. My chin is here. No, no, but where it is. And it was amazing when I realized, oh my goodness, how many times do I put my, kind of head out, kind of like a little duck pouting, or the bird like pouting one's chin out. And then I started becoming aware, and then I went back to him after a week or so. Then I said, "Yeah, man, it's like it's out most of the time." He said, "Okay." And then obviously he gave me a very simple solution to it, but that's not important. The point is that once we become aware that what am I doing to myself, then there can be very simple solutions. In fact, let me share. He gave me a very cute solution. He said, keep a ball, a soft ball between your chin and your, the neck, where your whatever these vocal cords are. Now, if you put your chin out, the ball will fall. So, for you to be able to hold the ball between your chin and your neck, you need to keep your chin in. So he calls that as biofeedback, as in your body only is giving feedback to yourself. And I obviously trained with that ball for about a couple of months, and after that obviously I've had no pain since. So many now it's many years, and now I'm much more aware of my chin where it is. So I'm just giving you a very physical example of how once you become aware of oneself, and in this case the doctor had to help me become aware of myself, how that can resolve things which look so complicated, and things which we think needs medicines and stuff like that. So awareness can be so interesting and lead to so many different aspects of ourselves. Right. So see, you guys are staying quiet today, and you're giving me all the time to jabber today.
Yeah, Ratnesh, Avinash here.
Ah, good.
I will also share this same part in context of our way I do my lectures with students. They are mostly MBA executives or MBA masters doing programs.
Right.
In context of this, when I deliver a lecture, normally I have been concentrating on my hands while doing the presentations. It should not go up above the shoulder. It should have the movements where you tuck yourself with the elbow and you have the hand movements there. But what I observed was when our palms are facing down or facing up in context of this, you go and have speeches where you authoritatively speak when your palm is upside down. And when it is the reverse, you are actually having a friendly conversations or your dialogues are in context of where you are accommodating the students and they are able to respond to you much better. And then when I actually observed this, I was in parallel also I was reading Adolf Hitler's book, and that is where he said he's all five fingers and his hand is straight, and that is where he wants to rule the world. That is how he has also depicted his entire story. And this conversation I was just observing, and now I have I think mastered the phenomena where when I want to give out a strong message, I use my hands accordingly, and when I want to be soft and want to have a conversations with the students and they want to participate in the conversations, I use the reverse. This is just a sharing of how I being aware of this and then actually practicing it, and now I think I've built it over a period of time.
Okay, great, great, awesome. So I'm sure, like both mine and Avinash's examples were more physical, kind of physiological, but there are obviously all of you would have some examples about how you became aware of more of your thought process, more aware of your feelings, more aware of your reaction or versus response, as Ritu was sharing, and so on. So how we become aware of our own thought processes and how we ourselves kind of little self-corrected, little kind of, it requires very possibly a small little change, but that awareness is what really helps us. Sometimes the awareness comes from self, sometimes others help us. But what my idea is that if we consciously build this kind of awareness uh, uh, into our day-to-day life, and then we have a constant kind of a, I won't even call it as a feedback system because it's not really a feedback. That is how we live. We're constantly, if we are walking, we're obviously aware of what is in front of us, right? That's why we're not banging into it. So it's the way, then it starts becoming a way of life. And it's not just a feedback system, it's a living system. Then I'm more aware as a living being as compared to when I'm just living more, let's say, mechanically. That's the, I think that's the main point. Any quick thoughts, so we can move to our last activity? Somebody, somebody to share or ask, or also anybody. I still did not get any response to the zones of awareness activity that we did. How was it? Could you follow? Was it? Did it mean? Anyway, was it interesting? Was it distracting? How was it? Okay, I guess I'll have to live with no response. That's okay. Not that that's an issue. Uh, okay, I'll move ahead. I wanted to. Yeah, Ritu wants to share something.
Yeah, it was a very I don't know, probably something which probably many have done or not done, and were not able to express what they were feeling. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's why not many responses, but sometimes it felt like the movement between the different zones was random, and sometimes it felt like they were connected.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the kind of thoughts which popped up and the images which popped up were so random. It was like, where is this coming from? Why did I suddenly, picture that? Or why did I suddenly go into that imagine? It's a little confusing. So
Right.
that's why I think people are still lost. And if you want to focus on a particular thing also, still there are, random things coming, popping in, and like, as if we are doing multiple things at the same time, trying to do.
Yeah.
It was a nice experience.
Right. Which is
Kind of what
yeah. Go ahead.
kind of what we do when we try to start meditating. Just
Mhm.
observe and not try to train our mind or anything. We just observe,
Right.
and
Right.
it
Yeah. That's, I think, is important. These all these awareness exercises, not trying to be, let's,
not trying to control. Yeah.
yeah, or not like I'll only stay with pleasant, or I will only stay at one thought, or does it mean that I'm not focusing? Nothing like that. It's just understanding oneself and observing oneself rather than trying to control. Yeah, that's important. Okay. Uh,
Okay, Nandini is sharing how the awareness is helping her uh, understanding herself vis-a-vis her child. Thanks, Nandini. Um, okay, I'll kind of move ahead. I wanted to do a small something which we now use the term circle time. Some of you would have you know kind of uh, heard about this term circle time. Some of you might have heard it being used in your school. It's been very popularized in US, and it's even, I think, whatever patented or something. This whole term circle time. We have a little different interpretation of the word of how or when we use circle time. So I thought instead of talking about it, we'll do a quick um circle time together. So obviously a circle time is a group activity where we all sit in a circle. So you'll have to literally imagine this vertical list of names in the attendees list as actually as a circle. Yeah. Um, so one of the things that we typically do in circle time is we normally don't like people to be just observers. So we like everybody to be part of it as much as um, because it's an experience, and to feel that there is somebody else who is sitting outside, not a great feeling. So inviting everybody who is there to be part of it, um, that gives the best feeling, at least to us, about circle time. Uh, why we are doing the circle time obviously is not to learn about circle time. Circle time is only a process, a small procedure or process, but to use circle time as a basis to understand interpersonal intelligence, right? So if you don't understand circle time by the end of the session, that's okay. But if that helps you, the experience helps you understand interpersonal intelligence, that and intrapersonal, both the intelligences, then that's the whole objective. Yeah. If you want to learn more about circle time, well, we have some videos of when we have done circle times with children. If you happen to visit us, we can do live. We do live circle times, which we do with children, so you can be part of those, as well as you can read more about it. But though different websites will have different versions of it, just keep that in mind. Okay, so first thing you have to imagine that we are all sitting in a circle. So uh, let's put it this way. So I'm assuming everybody who is in the attendees list is part of it. Give me a quick yes in the chat window so that I know you are there. I'm assuming everybody. That includes Amit, Aparna, Vinash, Banu, Bhavini, Kamal, Kusum, Nandini, Nitu, Ritu, Shilpa, Shishti, and Priya. Right. Okay. So you can just visualize all of us sitting in a circle, which means whatever. Shilpa is sitting between Ritu and Shrishti, and Ritu is sitting between Nitu and Shilpa, and so on. Right. And Amit is possibly sitting between Aparna and Priya, and so on. Okay. And the reason we sit in a circle is because to us circle gives two messages. One is that we are all equal, right? There is no hierarchy any which way. So I'm obviously also part of the circle. So okay, so Amit is sitting between me and Aparna, and I'm sitting between Amit and Priya. Okay, yeah. So circle gives equality. That's the most important reason why we sit in a circle. And the second thing that a circle does is that we can see each other. That's important. So that we can at any point of time connect with anybody. Right? So that's the reason why we sit in a circle. Now I want to start this circle time with a little thing about hands. I want you to kind of just observe your hands, just see the front, the back. You've been using them. Uh, maybe you relate to them as your friends or dutiful servants. I don't know how you relate to your hands. Think about how you relate to your hands. Uh, are they your friends? Uh, are they your good servants? You know, dedicated slaves, or whatever. However you relate to it. If you want to share how you relate to your hands, maybe you can just use your hands and type it in chat window. How do you relate to your hands? So if some of you would like to share how you relate to your hands. Also, if you relate to your two different hands in two different ways, I don't know, if right and left are, you relate to them differently, you relate to them same, uh, whichever way. Maybe one is more skilled, maybe one is less skilled, maybe one is more used, one is less used. Maybe how the other hand must be feeling. One hand, if you're using more than the other, what do you think happens to both the hands? Or maybe they are above all these feelings and all. So, however, just running your thoughts, and if you want to share, you can share in the chat window. The other way in which we use our hands is we actually use our hands with others, right? We shake hands with others, we pat others, we do a high five, uh, we touch each other, we connect physically in a tactile way with each other. Right? So we also use hands, so hands something not just for ourselves but for others. Uh, Even when we hand out something, let's say if I'm giving you a plate, one end of the plate I'm holding, one hand of the plate you are holding, so our hands are connected. So many ways in which we kind of use our hands. In fact, so much so that there are lots of words in English language which has hand built into it. Right? Words which are made up of the word hand. Can you think of some words which have the word hand in it? For example, handshake is one word. Okay, Avinash says hands on. More people, can you share? Handle, yes, handle is another one. Hand over, Shrishti says. Handmade says Aparna. Yeah, right-handed, left-handed, yes. More words which have hand as part of it. Helping hand says Priya. I think she's typing a private chat to me. That's okay. Hand in, oh yeah, hand in. Handkerchief, yes. Maybe if you look at my video, you will say handsome. Handyman, handbag. And Aparna's got a gun, so she's saying hands up. Handy, hands up. Okay, so we not only use our hands in many different ways, it directly translates into the language, and we use it in language also in many different ways. One of the ways in which we use our hands is by helping. We call it as helping hands. So, are you a helping hand? Yes, no, maybe, sometimes, all the times, none of the times. So let's do one thing. Let's go around the circle. Wait. Don't type in chat. But I would like you to come on mic and say, what do you think about you being a helping hand? Right. So let's start. Let's start in an order. Who wants to start? Okay. I saw Avinash's mic coming on. So Avinash, very quickly, in brief, just share what is your view about you as a helping hand?
Oh, yes, sometimes, yes, it is always
So some ways, if you can share how you are a
in my
helping hand.
family. Yes.
Can you share one or two ways in which you are a helping hand?
Okay, you're in context of
Anything. In context of being a helping hand.
okay. So in terminologies where, okay, examples.
As in what kind of situations, places, things can you be you are typically a helping hand?
It's extempore, right? And in context of where you are
Yes,
aware of
give us some
things happening
examples.
and you get someone's going through. Oh yeah, on the road when puppy is just crossing the road and the traffic is stuck and honking, I just get down and you just take out the puppy,
Okay,
and throw it
wonderful.
on the
Yeah, so
platform.
that's an example of a helping hand. Thank you. Banu. So today everybody in circle time everybody has to share. You can say pass, but right now I would like everybody to say. So Banu, you share how you are a helping hand. Like how Avinash share he's a helping hand to little Banu, you there? Only if your mic is not at all working, use chat. Otherwise, please use mic.
Ratnesh later.
Okay,
Pass first.
sure. Bhavini, how are you a helping hand? If you are a helping hand, if you think that, yeah, I'm a helping hand and this is how I help. Give one example. Bhavini, you can come on mic. If your mic is not at all working, then use chat. Bhavini, you there? If you're typing, you just type few words, press enter so we know you are typing, and then you can continue typing. Okay, Bhavini also wants to pass. Kamal? Sure. So Bhavini, go ahead and type in chat window how you think you are a helping hand. If you think you are a helping hand, how are you a helping hand? What kind of things, places you can help? Kamal, you ready? You there? Okay, I'm not getting any response. Kamal.
Ratnesh.
Yeah, Banu.
Okay, I always help people by empowering them. Since I'm running tuition center, I empower the students and some of the ladies when they come in contact with me, I empower them to do something about their life. And most of the time, I end up assuming things on behalf of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say I'm a good helping hand also. Thank you.
Okay. Bhavini, you want to share? I'm not sure if Kamal is there. Kusum, I'm just moving ahead. So others, just be ready with whatever you would like to share about you being a helping hand. Kamal, Kusum, okay, Mandini.
Hello.
Yes, Bhavini. I think we can hear you.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. Okay. Uh, yeah. I am helping hand like when I feel people need help or like they are in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Or or someone asked me to help somewhere,
Can you give
anywhere.
us can you give us an
I believe like
example?
I'm. Okay. If I feel my child is in trouble, I will let her do for some time. But I feel it's paining. I'll go and help her. Otherwise, like anybody, if I feel from far that there is something wrong, I'll go and help them. or if someone come to me and say that I want your help, I will definitely help.
Okay.
Are you getting?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Nandini has shared through chat windows. I'll read out. I help my friend when she says she needs help, like taking care of a kid for some time or bringing vegetables, grocery. Okay, so we need know Nandini is a helping hand by doing all of that. Neetu,
Yeah, I am a helping hand to maybe running, helping my mother-in-law whenever she requires me,
mm-hmm.
and maybe in the whole day just coordinating everything. I'm a helping hand in that, coordinating everyone's routine.
Okay,
That is
okay,
all I do.
okay, okay. Ritu,
That is how I lend my helping hand. That.
okay,
Similar to what Neetu said, I'm a helping hand at home with um, cooking and being a housekeeper and coordinating and a lot of things. If I'm at a party, then I'd probably help the host out to in whatever way it's needed to serve, or if I'm at a birthday party, to organize games for kids,
cool,
or
cool.
helping
Fine.
hand when my friends need anything. Yeah, stuff like
Good,
that.
good. Remind me to call you when I'm organizing a party. Okay, Shilpa, your turn.
Sure, sure.
Shilpa there?
Yeah. Uh, I help out, help people with, I mean, old people with, when they're not able to get down the stairs, and especially my grandmom. So when she goes to the temple, so there are steps. So just help her out, climb the steps, and when she gets down, I help her in that. And other things, if the maid does not come, then help in cleaning the vessels and doing all the housework. So
Sure, sure. Okay. Shrishti, just one example is sufficient. We're just sharing how we are helping hand.
Yeah, actually, recently my friend got hospitalized,
Mm-hmm.
so I I took her son and daughter along with me. I kept them for more than 24 hours, and I prepared food for not only for the children and even for those who were staying at the hospital. So I helped that way.
Okay. Priya has shared that she's a helping hand by packing lunch for others, for her sister, and so on. She helps them prepare for the day. Okay, whom did we miss out? Kusum, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, Ratnesh Kusum.
Go
Hello,
ahead.
Ratnesh.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I help out a person to cross the road who is not able to see.
Okay. Sure. Okay, who is next? Next is my turn. Okay, I'm after Priya, I'm in the circle. So I help out people sometimes with the technology part, some problem with computer not printing, not connecting to internet and stuff like that. Um, so that's where I can be of. That's where how I'm a helping hand. Amit, you want to share how you are a helping hand, and then Aparna. Amit, there, Aparna, you can go ahead if you're there.
Hi, Ratnesh.
Hi.
I'm sometimes a helping hand by just being there with my friends and my neighbors. But sometimes just lending my ears to listen. So right now, I would want to be that.
Okay. Okay. So what we'll do is, so what I realize is that this group is full of helping hands. We've got lots of helping hands, people ready to help in many different ways. So what we'll do is, we will use this group. Okay. Okay. Amit has also shared how he can be a helping hand by not helping them. I think that's what he means to say. Okay. Um, So what we'll do is we will, since we have so many friends and we have so many people who are ready to help us. One of us can actually use this opportunity. So this is an invitation. Any one of you who would like some help, here you have a good circle of friends who is ready to help. So you can share a problem or an issue that you are facing, and your the friends here will see how they can help you. Right? So if anybody would like to share a problem or an issue that you're facing, it could be with yourself, it could be in your life, it could be with your child, it could be anywhere. It need not be related only to children. Any problem, any issue, it could be small, it could be big, but you would like some help. So you can share that, and let's see how the group helps. Okay, also on the side, I think I've a little run out of time. So if it is okay with everybody, I'll take about, yeah, at least about 15 more minutes. Is it okay if we run into 1:15 today, maybe 1:20? Is that okay with everybody? If somebody still needs to step out at 1 o'clock, you're most welcome. But if in general it is okay, we can just carry on. Okay, so I think, yeah, thanks for that. So let's come back. So anybody would like to share any kind of problem or issue that you would like? There's so many helping hands here in this group.
Ratnesh, Banu here.
Yeah, Banu, you have to speak to the whole group.
Okay. Okay, dear friends, I have a big problem. I'm actually facing issue with my mother-in-law. I just don't know how to fix this. She is okay. She only visits me once in a while. But every time when she comes, she'll be okay for 3 hours. After that, she will start to pull face or show face. I just don't know why it's happening. And until now, I can't figure it out, and that's really bothering me. And sometimes I try to ignore, but just can't take it because she's in the house. So I just don't know how to come up, solve this issue. That's all.
Okay. Thanks, Banu, for sharing. Others, we are all in the circle. Banu has shared a problem. If you have, just acknowledge by putting a yes that you kind of heard it, understood uh, what Banu is going through. And if you have if you have not understood, then obviously you will need to ask a question, or ask her to repeat. But if you have broadly understood, then you can just say yes. And yeah, you can respond to Banu. We are all in a circle, and Banu has shared her problem. Thank you, Banu. Preferably, let's use mic. So if you want to respond to Banu, yeah, I'm somehow, let's avoid chat totally, please. It's important that we speak, because otherwise we're just saying, we don't know what you are saying totally. So preferably use mic. Come on, share, speak to Banu.
Hello, Banu. This is Neetu here.
Neetu. Yeah,
Yeah.
Neetu.
Banu, one way of looking at it is whatever she's expressing or whatever she's doing, it is her feelings, her understanding of whatever the situation is, and it is not about you, it is about herself. I think this helps. You don't take it as like whatever it is. One thing very important is you should not ignore them. But other thing is, do not take it on you, whatever they're doing. If she's like, as you say, she makes faces or something, you do not take it as if she is doing it to you. She's just expressing her feeling. You can just be a spectator to it and not accept or take that for you. I think that is one thing that has helped me.
It was such a beautiful idea, but the thing is, like, I am most of the time very quiet. But the thing is, like, when she does that and she doesn't, reveal that to the. So the thing is, like, to the son, she's like always claiming that I am a good mother-in-law. But to me, she's like always different. I don't, disturb them at all. I just go to work and come back. And even when they are here, I'm not, most of the time, I'm not around also. But I just don't know. After some time, she'll start to show face because I don't know. That's why, like, it's so difficult to be in that situation, to face the situation. Until now, like, we have learned that feelings and emotions are temporary to come out, but I just can't. And at times, I end up getting more stress. But I will take your idea and I'll see what I can do. But, when I'm facing the situation, in fact, about 1 week ago, was in the situation, I wanted to do all this, but I just couldn't help myself.
No, you just, it can be just like she's struggling with her feelings. It is her expression. You shouldn't like, it is not easy, I understand that. But you can try this. It is not for you. What she's telling is not you. It is her own feeling. You just try to keep this in mind and I think it helps. That's a small help I can do.
Thanks, Neetu. Thank you very much.
So we are still with Banu's thing, so anybody can respond.
Yeah, one Shilpa here. Uh, this, I mean, this feeling, or that the way you are feeling, is it that the other family members also feel the same, or uh, you are getting such a feeling?
The both the daughter-in-laws, we are feeling like that. She's like that. When she comes 1 week, just say she wants to stay for 7 days. 2 days she'll be okay, and then the third day, and she wants to bring out the mother-in-law character. She wants to rule us, and we are very quiet. We just leave the kitchen to her. We leave the house to her. You can do whatever you want to do. Yet she tries to control us. She wants us to be always listening, not going to work, sitting in the house, taking care of the kids, cannot sleep, cannot do this. She will find fault. She will try to find fault. And in fact, she brings communication problem between all the family members also. She wants to rule. She doesn't want people to have a good communication among. She doesn't allow us to communicate. If at all we are close, she will try to break it off. I just don't know. I'm lost, and I think about nearly 14 years I'm struggling with this.
But then, if you've just left everything to her, then why should it trouble you? I mean, just a thought. You can just be aware that if you have given her all the freedom, then whatever she is doing, something is still something is still troubling you, probably, you can just, when you feel that way, just, be aware of what is making you feel that way.
Okay, so I'll just pause everybody here. Banu, I'll just pause.
I just don't.
Banu, 1 minute.
Yes.
Shilpa, just pause. Yeah. So I want to do it slightly differently. How we have been doing, we only had little time and we only had couple of people responding to Neetu and Shrishti. Sorry, Shilpa, responding. But if you observe that in both the cases we were kind of suggesting to her what she could be doing in situation like these, and kind of also become aware, or think that it's other person's problem and so on, right? Now let's try and see if we want to do it a little differently. What I want you to do is I want you to think of a time when you were struggling with any relationship. It could be a boss, it could be a teammate, it could be a classmate, it could be a friend, it could be a mother-in-law or a mother, or father or grandma, or whoever, right? Any individual who was kind of little dominating you, dictating you, finding faults in you. At least you felt that way, that the other person is finding fault at me, the other person is making faces at me, other person is dictating and driving me. uh, so I would like you to share that. Just share your experience. How was it? Maybe you could resolve it. Maybe you could never resolve it. That's okay. That's not the point that you should have, that it needs to have resolved. But share your own experience uh, about about an individual who was like this with you. And yeah, I would like to do that and have one round of sharing. Whoever wants to share, we need not go in any order, but share about your experience instead of directing it at Banu. And let's see what Banu can make out of the different experiences we all share. How does that help Banu? We'll leave it for Banu to see how that helps. Are you okay with this idea that we just share from our experiences, specific what exactly was happening and how did you go about it and what happened, rather than something more generic? If you're okay, just let me know. Just do a okay in the chat window. And if somebody wants
Yes,
to share.
Rakesh, it is exactly with my experience and with some, you can say, some years of understanding the relationship that I was helping Banu.
Sure.
Because
Nobody's questioning that.
yeah.
Neetu, we are not
No,
questioning
I'm
it.
saying that way.
Yeah, so
No,
share
I'm just
share
saying it is
what
an
happened with you.
experience.
Yeah, share what happened
Yeah.
in your life.
So it was exactly like all the time, it was a type of insecurity in her. And that is what, and whatever went wrong or if there was some conflict, it was like
Who
I was
was
to
it
be
with
blamed.
Neetu? Who
Yeah,
was
it was my
this?
mother-in-law. Yeah, it
Okay.
was mother-in-law.
Okay.
Yeah. Then when I tried some help around and tried to understand why is this happening, because there would be small conflicts and then they would build up on that. So soon I realized, I was, when I introspected every time that happened, it was more about her feelings, her loneliness, that she wanted to have a command, or her insecurity, basically, that she wanted to always check about her control over me and over the household that she was trying to do. So I then let go and I always gave her the whole control. And then whenever she was angry, as Ritu said, I was not, before I was responding to it, reacting to it. Then when I became more aware about her feelings or her insecurity, I was more of it responding to it. And one thing I realized was they do not like to be ignored. They want to be, felt important all the time. That is what is more very important for them. They want to be,
Neetu,
always
don't speak about them. Speak
be,
about your
show that they
mother-in-law.
are the,
Neetu, don't speak about them. Speak about
yeah,
your
my
mother-in-law.
mother-in-law.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
specifically.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So she always wanted to keep checking that. If like I started going out little more often, then she would like, feel that she's lost control over me. Then she would check on that and say that, you've not done this, you've not done that. So that way is, checking on her control and her insecurity. It is basically an insecurity that I felt, and something that she has already missed in her life, not able to control before. She was being controlled all the time. So now she feels that she's got a chance to control, so she can use that. She being the eldest among everyone, so it is that the control power that makes her feel happy. That is one thing. When you give her the whole control, she's happy about it. So that's okay. That's nice. If she's happy, then the whole scenario at the home is good. So I just, though I'm doing it, I place it as if it is she who is doing it, she who is having the control, going and all the time asking her what has to be done, though I know what has to be done. That ways.
Okay. Thanks, Neetu. Anybody else would like to share? Also, if people may want to share other relationships other than mother-in-law, other relationship, maybe a boss, maybe a friend, maybe a classmate, a dominating classmate, um, uh, maybe a parent, I don't know, maybe a sibling, I don't know. Would somebody like to share from their life? It could be from your childhood, any age. Share specific experience.
Yeah. Am I audible? Hello.
Louder, Shrishti.
Yeah, Ratnesh, am I audible?
Yeah.
Hello. Yes. Okay. So the dominating person in my life was my grandmother. She used to dominate everyone in my household, and she still continues to do so. I'll tell you one incident about that. It was about my board exams. My board exams were going on, class 10th board exam, and she saw that I was about to go to study for the next day exam, and she said, Srishti, go and get oil. You need to massage my legs and my head. My parents were listening, but they didn't do anything about it. They just kept quiet and they let me go and do it. And I kept on massaging her, giving her a massage till she slept and she woke up. She took a nap and then she left me. And I was in a miserable condition. Imagine next day I had my examination and what I was doing, I was massaging my grandma. Yeah, that's one of the incidents. There are thousands of incidents, but what's the use of it, discussing them? People are that way. Either you go against them or you go along with them.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Uh, yeah, yeah, Shilpa. So, with me, a cousin of mine, she was very dominating, and we used to stay in a joint family. So, whenever it used to be, choosing on things, uh, what has been brought by elders in the thing. She was always the first one to get it. She had that dominating nature. But somewhere I realized that she nobody told her anything. That was the whole thing. I mean, communication was not there. That awareness was not brought in, even on my part and even on my cousin's part. So somewhere, if I personally feel that it is my feeling that I am feeling that somebody's dominating me. So uh, I when I look back, uh, I think it is somewhere, it was not expressed well, it was not communicated. So I think if that is done, it would help.
Okay, thanks, Shilpa. I saw Kamal and Avinash might go unmute. Would any one of you want to share, or Amit also? I think. Are you intending to share, or is it only showing up like that? Or anybody else wants to share? Anybody in your life who used to find fault, dominate, and what did you do to deal? Yep. Anybody else from childhood, from any part of your life? I'm sure some of us have met and lived with some dominating, fault finding, kind of controlling people around us. Yep. Anybody else? This is uh, we're trying to help Banu, not directly by suggesting or giving her guidance, but more by sharing our own experiences, not necessarily all rosy, but sharing our own experiences, and for her to take her own learnings out of our sharings. So if you have an experience in your life, if you would like to share that, in what way it will help her or it will help anybody, we don't know. That's not the point. The point is to just share, and via sharing help. Okay, so I think I can share one experience with all of you. I had in my first job, um, not my first job, sorry, my second job, but out of the college, yeah, first job. I had a boss who would literally try to control how I do things, right from how I wrote down my work list to how I organized my time to how I spoke to everybody in the organization, because I my job was to coordinate with a lot of people, and she was obviously very unhappy with my work because she would constantly find fault with my work. And my initial reaction for almost 3 to 4 months was to please her. So I would do all kinds of whatever she would say. I would kind of strive hard. I will reach office at 7 o'clock and leave late, 11 o'clock back, trying to do things the way she wanted. And the more I tried to please her, the more she found fault in me, and it drew me over the over the edge kind of a thing. And obviously, at one point of time, I started contemplating leaving the organization because this was just becoming too much. And I saw no way that I could get out of her being my boss. So I realized she will be my boss for, let's say, the next years. So I didn't want that. But obviously that also did not happen. What helped me in my situation is that one fine day I decided that why am I trying to please her? What would happen if I don't please her? What would happen if I do things just my way, how I want to do it, and still deliver in terms of work, but do it my way, right? Almost like to hell with her. What would happen? The sky will not fall. What worst will happen? She will throw me. She can't throw me out because it's a large organization. And I actually started doing things on my own. I started defying her and just doing it things my own way, though not disrespecting her in any which way. And that actually helped me a lot. And suddenly results started coming with my work. I started becoming more cheerful. And slowly she realized that this guy is good enough, and she stopped kind of, she's actually started appreciating me. So that's my little story of how this was more with a boss. Anybody else like to share? Let's take one more story. I know we're really late on schedule, but I wouldn't mind taking one or two quick stories, and then we can kind of close the circle time.
I think it's our own fear, which stops us from trying out also. Like my story goes like when I was in IBM. I had a major dispute with my boss because he wanted me to do something. I asked him the reason for it. He said, no, just because I am telling you. I said, no, because you are telling me, I would not do it. If you give me some good reason enough, I would definitely do it. If it is need of the job, I will do it. But not because you are telling me. Uh, so, and I told myself what would maximum happen. Because ultimately, if I do what he says, then I would not be happy. And every day I would feel the resentment. So it's better that if required, I might move out. But nothing of that sort would have happened. Basically, in fact, within 6 months, I have got an award also over there. So the point is, sometimes we are scared of putting our foot down. And this experience, not just with IBM, but other companies also, I have faced the same thing. That, when a boss calls up, people leave their food and go. And once, the chairman called me because he was having a meeting with the HODs. I did not go because I said, come on, I work for money and money for basically food. If I cannot eat my food also, then what's the use of working? So I went after finishing food and nothing happened. Because even sometimes people do understand. It's our fear which stops us from communicating or expressing our viewpoint.
Okay. Thanks, Kamal. Okay, so I think we can kind of start winding it down. So what I would like to do is I would like you to share. I would like everybody to share that when uh, uh, when you are challenged, when you are challenged in a situation, which quality of yours you use. So I would like everybody to share it in the chat window, but we'll go one by one. Um, so should I repeat my question? When you are challenged in a situation, any kind of situation, especially social situations, when there are other people and it's a challenging situation, which quality of yours you use? Right? We have so many qualities. It could be anything that you use. I'm not giving examples because I don't want to put words in your mind, but any quality of yours that you use when you are challenged in a social situation with people. So I want you, each one of you, to share one such in the chat window. Um, and let's make it quick because we're already on off time. So let's start with, let's go around the circle. Sorry, Kamal, can you mute the mic, please? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say, let one person start. Okay. Shrishti, would you like to share what strength do you use? Okay, Neetu has already started. She shared she uses her gut feeling. Okay, what I feel is right. Okay.
Patience. I use patience.
You use patience.
Optimism.
Okay. Kamal uses optimism. Shilpa. Okay, people have started type. I thought we'll go one by one. That's okay. Shilpa uses patience. Avinash uses expression. Nandini uses silence. No talking. Banu, what do you use? Aparna, what do you use? Ritu, what do you use? You can just type in the chat window one strength that you use when you are in a socially challenging situation. Have we got everybody's response? Not really. Okay, Banu also uses connect. I nowadays use, calm and compose. I use connect. I try to connect with the other person's feeling. So, Aparna uses listening. Okay, has everybody shared? Okay, so thank you. So we'll pause the circle time here. So we close the circle time with the sharing of one strength that we use. Not that any one strength is by itself superior, but all of these strengths can be used. So here's a ready list of strengths that I can use when I'm socially challenged. So thank you everybody for being part of this circle time. And though it was very short, circle times typically tend to be a little longer. They take about hour and a half or 2 hours or sometimes 3-4 hours, and they're all very intense. But and I'm already 1:30, sorry. But let me take 2 quick more minutes and ask you, how was the circle time? What was different in it? What uh, anybody with quick thoughts? What were you trying to do here? How did that help you understand, interpersonal and intrapersonal intelligence? Anybody with quick thoughts about the circle time? Don't get lost in the contents. Don't get lost in Banu's situation, but more in the process. How did we do it? The content was immaterial today. It was Banu's situation. Tomorrow it could be anybody else's. But and also, yeah, thanks to Banu for sharing it, and thanks for everybody else also for sharing. But quickly, anybody has few thoughts on the process that we went through, and what did we learn from that? Very quickly, we can also share more through the community. But right now, if anybody would like to share. If you realize, we started off with a little warm up to bring everybody into the circle, to bring everybody into, in this particular case, the concept of helping and all that. Then we deep dived into the core problem, which was shared by Banu. And then we closed by this little quick closure up with sharing of strengths. So that was the broad procedure that we follow, or steps that we follow, kind of getting into the circle, then getting deep diving into the problem, and then closing it with the small activities. Yes, Shilpa.
Yeah, it gives a broad perspective, uh, looking at oneself and at others also. So for me, it was a learning wherein, different points of view, my point of view. So everything was, placed all together. So, broaden my perspective on.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a very, very important point when we do circle time, that we feel the circle time is a circle time only when a lot of views, a lot of broadening happens, so that the problem or the spotlight is not on the problem, but is on widening our horizon and in using the group's rich array of experiences to bring learning for everybody. Right? So that's a very, very key aspect of
a circle time, and we see the need of a circle time whenever we feel that the whole group's experience can broaden everybody's learning, and we use circle time in those situations. So thanks, Shilpa. That was a key point of the circle time. More thoughts? Okay, so Ritu, in which case I would ask, how was it different from when you meet with a close group of friends? Because I think there are some very clear elements which are different from meeting up with friends.
Yeah, we don't know each other personally, but from listening to the different experiences, I think we could map the different techniques to our own problems or to Banu's problem, and kind of made more connections with the way we handle situations.
Okay, that's more of the benefit. I'm saying in the process, in the way we did it, how is it different? You can do it circle time within a close group of friends also. You can do it within family also. So it's not that you did not know people or you know people that make circle time different. So how was this process little different from how when we normally just meet up with our friends and share problems with each other? And obviously this question is not just directed at you, at everybody. Yeah, go ahead.
Probably we don't need the warm-up time which we did, and we might not always come up with the strengths of the way we concluded. It might not be the same way when we meet with a group of friends.
Okay. More thoughts? I think there's much more to it than just the warm up and the closure. That's okay. We maybe we don't need warm up so much with friends.
Neetu here.
Yeah, Neetu.
Ratnesh, I feel when it's with friends, there must be some judgment or there must be inclination towards a friendship, or it may not be a very open view or a unjudged view.
Hmm. Okay, so my idea is not really to compare it with meeting with close friends. My idea is to look back at the process that we followed and see what was unique about this process, irrespective of close friends or not. That's what I said, that this can be done. In fact, it is more beautifully done when we are within close people, family people or close friends. So circle time is amazing when you do it with close people. It's really mind-boggling. Um, Maybe at some time, if we have an experience like that, I can do it with you with in that fashion. But I'm just saying the point is not that we compare it with that. The point is what is in the process that makes it different. Yeah, apart from sharing of ideas, meaning, in fact, sharing of ideas is normal. Meaning, we can uh, sharing of ideas, thoughts. Maybe chance to talk. I think even that is okay. I mean, in the sense, yeah. I mean, even in otherwise, everybody has a chance to talk. Here, okay, just because it's moderated in itself, that's okay. That's not such a big thing.
We respected each person's thoughts.
Mm. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, man.
I felt that it's like when I was sharing, I felt that I am sharing with my family members. when the circle time was done.
Okay. Right. So that actually is the beauty of any sharing. When you share thoughts, experiences, stories, you kind of come together. And I think one of the key aspects of a circle time, which wasn't explicitly said to all of you, but which I as a moderator brought in, and which possibly as a group can bring in, is that while we are discussing, let's say, one person's problem or any problem for that matter, the whole group is not there to solve that problem, but the whole group is there to learn from that person's problem. The whole focus of a circle time is to learn together and learn for oneself, right? And not really kind of fix Banu or fix anybody. You know? And that to me is really what is different about circle time, and it is so amazing when you have that perspective. So in this case, I had that perspective, so I brought that through moderation. But when you do circle time, which is different from helping a close friend or chit chatting, there the whole drive is not to kind of that I want to learn something. But in a circle time, everybody kind of the group comes together not to kind of fix somebody or fix a problem, though that's the agenda, but that's not the objective. The objective is to actually learn, is to actually gain from discussing, from sharing, from understanding, from listening, and so on. And I think that makes the whole thing very, very different. And that is what to me is an important ingredient of any interpersonal intelligence. The If I am relating to somebody, I'm not there just to fulfill the other person's need, not just to solve other person's problem, but to co-learn, co-grow, co-create together, right? Especially co-learn together, co-grow together. That that aspect of kind of learning together and being together and growing together, and not that trying to fix one person or another, makes makes this and the process and the whole journey of interpersonal intelligence adds a certain dimensions to that interpersonal intelligence, which is very different from me as a teacher or as an adult or as a guide or as a counselor trying to kind of advise Janta that this is what you should do, which is where we co-learn together, is where the joy of uh, the interpersonal comes together. So I don't know. I'll just leave you with that thought. I'm aware of the time, and I really shot up today. Um, so that to me is important. We can talk more about it when we come to facilitation, and how does that reflect when we are facilitating the child. We have got straight on 2 sessions back to back on facilitation. So don't worry if you have lots of questions and lots of thoughts, or and you would like to explore more. That is precisely what we would be doing in the next 2 sessions. Yeah, so thank you very much. Thank you very much for being patient with me in terms of the time. And hold back your questions. We'll come back the next session.